Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and all our social media platforms at Fino Boxing. You can follow my personal social media at Adriana_sports. Enjoy. Hey guys, Adriana Jimenez, joined here with Manny Robles. Manny, it's so good to see you in person. It's been such a long time now. You know, so used to seeing you so frequently, talking to you in person. It feels good. How are you feeling?
Great. It feels amazing. No, fine. It's nice to be out, right? It's nice to be around the boxing community, the boxing family, and I missed it. So yeah, it feels great.
Absolutely. You know, you're here with your fighter, SERHII Bohachuk. He has a tough fight in Brendan Adams. You know, talk to me a little bit about what kind of fight you're expecting in these young guys.
Fireworks. I mean, we expect a tough fight versus Brandon Adams, a very credible opponent, tough opponent. His record says it all, and I believe we're up for the challenge. We're up to the challenge. We're up. It's going to be a tough task, but we're going to be ready for it, definitely.
I just talked to him and he said, you know, he wants to put on a good show, great performance, and he's already looking forward to getting a title shot. How close do you see him for a world title opportunity?
I think we're very close. At this stage, at this point in a game, there's no such thing as an easy fight. We got to get through Brandon Adams first to look on to bigger and better things. But I believe he's probably about a couple fights away from getting a shot at the title. He's one of the top-rated fighters in the world. I believe we're fighting for the WBC Intercontinental title, if I'm not mistaken, which SERHII holds. And like I said, we don't want to look too far ahead. We have too much. I personally have too much. A great deal of respect for Brandon Adams. I don't treat any fight lightly. I never like to get ahead of myself. So let's hopefully get through this challenge, and then again, as I said, we can look forward to bigger and better things.
Well, this division that he's in, you know, of course, we have the two champs. We have Jermel Charlo and Patrick Teixeira. I was asking him, you know, which name does he like better? And he immediately went to Charlo. I'm imagining the three titles. You know, what do you think about? What do you make of the division that he's in?
That'd be awesome. Definitely, Charlo's the best fighter at that weight class, at super welterweight. So definitely, that would be the biggest challenge. Teixeira, as we all know, fights tonight versus Brian Castaño, which I'm gonna be supporting and be pulling for Brian. He's a great friend of mine, and he trains at my gym, and I think we're gonna see him become a world champion tonight.
You think so? You think he has a great chance of becoming champion?
I definitely believe that. He trained at our gym, as I said, so it was close and personal. The relationship that we have is a good relationship, and watching him grow as a fighter, he finally gets a shot at a title, and I believe he's going to come out with the win.
So if he becomes champion and then he's gunning for that title.
Business is business, right? As they say. If he does, then I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you it's the nature of the business. Sometimes you got to fight your friends. But I got to see him win the world title first before we can, talk about a possible fight between SERHII and Castaño.
Absolutely. Well, two guys that have, you know, they mentioned that they're friends and they're fighting next week are Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez. That's going to be a great Mexican war. We're looking forward to it. And of course, you know very well Oscar Valdez. You led him to becoming a champion. Tell me your thoughts about this big fight.
I look. A lot of people are not giving Oscar a chance. Most people, from what I hear from the boxing community in the comments, are not giving Oscar a chance. But I would not. I wouldn't count him out, man. I know Oscar probably better than most people, and I know what he's got. I know what he's made out of. Oscar doesn't quit. And Oscar, he's got no quit on him. He's got a huge heart. No le cabe en el pecho el corazón a Oscar. He's a great individual, great person. He's a great friend of mine. Despite me not working with him any longer, we're still very good friends, and he knows that we have nothing but love and respect for one another. So you know where my heart's at, and you know where my mind's at too. I don't need to tell you, but it's definitely gonna be a great fight versus the top fighter in the division, and Miguel Berchelt. So it's gonna be fireworks, man. But my heart's with Oscar Valdez.
What does Oscar have to watch out from Miguel Berchelt?
Well, he's the natural fighter at that weight class. Oscar, as we know, he's a smaller fighter of the two. Coming up to 130. It's just one thing is that Oscar's been campaigning at 130, but he hasn't fought anybody at 130. Any fighters at 130. And that's probably the weakest link into coming into this fight because he really hasn't met any tough challenges at 130, and now you're fighting the best fighter in the division. I mean, sure, that's a lot to swallow. You know what I mean? But I believe in Oscar, especially when you can crack as hard as Oscar can. Oscar, when you got two fighters like Berchelt and Oscar that can crack, that can punch, anything is. Oh man, expect fireworks, man. Anything can happen. El que pega primero pega dos veces. So we'll have to wait and see who connects first.
That definitely is a great, all-out Mexican war that we're looking forward to seeing. You talked about the challenge on taking one of the best guys in that division. Someone who's doing that also the following week, Avni Yildirim, is challenging for, for Canelo's, as a mandatory, he's taking on Canelo. How do you see that fight? I know there's a lot of criticism, but I mean, he is a mandatory, but how do you see that fight?
Look, people don't understand. Like, he's got first of all, this kid has a great coach in Joel Diaz. Yeah. So, Joel, he's going to have him ready. One of the best coaches in boxing. So he's definitely going to have this kid ready because you need experience. You need someone like this kid to have Joel in that corner, to have him as a coach. That's a win-win situation. So they better not be taking this kid lightly, man, because if they do, they're, and that's the beauty of boxing. That's the beauty of anything can happen, Every fighter is one fight away from the big time, from a big shot, from becoming a star. Who's to say this kid won't do it? I mean, we've had it, happen in the past. Look at Andy when he beat Anthony Joshua. They were 15-1 underdogs, and look what happened. So who's to say that won't happen again? And it can, with any fight, Oscar Valdez versus Berchelt, who's to say Oscar won't go out there and knock out Berchelt? Anything can happen. That's the beauty of the sport, Boxing ain't going nowhere. I think boxing is on a high note right now. I think there's a lot of good fighters coming that are out there, that are coming out, and that are definitely going to make a big statement.
Well, having said that, what do you make about Canelo already having arranging his next fight against Billy Joe Saunders for the Cinco de Mayo weekend? Having not fought this one with Avni Yildirim.
Well, you can't get ahead of yourself. You got this guy. February the 27th. So you gotta handle your business first. And then once you do, you can look forward to Billy Joe Saunders. That would be a good fight. I particularly would like to see him fight David Benavidez. If I can see Canelo fight David Benavidez, then you can crown him as the best fighter in the division. Definitely, that's the man to beat.
Do you think that right now, obviously, David Benavidez isn't a current title holder. He is a two-time champion. But do you think that David Benavidez can create more of a challenge than Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant can?
Definitely David Benavidez is the man to beat at 168, the super middleweight division. Billy Joe Saunders is a credible opponent, but I think that the man to beat is Benavidez. I mean, I think most of us agree in that sense. David Benavidez has to make weight. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but it's part of boxing. Unfortunately, sometimes things go wrong, and you try to prevent those situations from happening, but we're all human, and everybody makes mistakes.
Do you feel that the Canelo-Benavidez fight will be the closest to a 50-50 fight?
Definitely. I definitely do believe that. I definitely believe it's more of a 50-50 fight. But then, it's up to Canelo. He's the cash cow right now in boxing. So, he's a boss. He can fight anybody he wants. At any given moment, at any given time. We've seen that in the past when Oscar De La Hoya was in his prime, when Mayweather was in his prime, they pick and choose. Manny Pacquiao and so forth and so on. That they become the kings of boxing, and that's where Canelo's at right now, where he can pick and choose his opponents.
Coach, something that I admire and respect about you is that even if you don't no longer train a fighter, you mentioned them, you wish them well. Many of them you have great relationships with. You briefly mentioned Andy Ruiz. Obviously, you're no longer with them. Have you had any contact with them recently at all?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Yeah, I'm busy, man. Thank God. I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot of fighters that I work with. Boxing doesn't stop. The time just the clock keeps on ticking. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to work with fighters like SERHII BOHACHUK and others other fighters that I have on my stable that have fights coming up as well. So I really don't have time to stop and think or dwell on the past. You know what I mean? I take the good. I'm a positive person, and I try to take all the positivity. I cannot forget the fact that Andy became a world champion. We made history together. And I'd rather take that and leave the negativity out of the way and take the positive and say, hey, we did this together. You became the first Mexican American heavyweight champion of the world. We did that together. Who can take that from me? Nobody. You know what I mean? So I'd rather take that and wish him nothing but the best, because I do believe that Andy does have what it takes to be successful in boxing again, but he's got to want it. That's all I got to say. He's got to want it.
Yeah, we've been seeing him on social media put in some work, and it looks like he's slimming down. I don't know if you've noticed, if you've seen on social media.
Yeah, I guess I have. Andy's Andy, Andy's Andy, and I got nothing but the utmost respect for Andy. I tell you what, man, he's a killer, and as long as he doesn't lose that killing instinct, that hunger, then you better watch out, because Andy's dangerous. He's a very dangerous dog out there. He's a very dangerous fighter, so he can give anybody in the heavyweight division definitely a run for their money.
We'll see what happens. but meanwhile, I know you have your hands busy. You have SERHII fighting really soon. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
It's always a pleasure being with you guys. Thank you.